Okay, so many people struggle in math because they never really fully learned or retained a lot of basic math concepts and skills. And I think this particular problem is a nice illustration of that. But let's go ahead and see if you can solve this nice, easy problem. And please do not use a calculator, that'll defeat the purpose. But let me go ahead and read you the problem. It is the quotient of 2 and 10 times the difference of 3 and 5. Okay, so if you could figure this out, go ahead and put your answer into the comment section. I'll show you the correct answer in just 1 second, and then of course, I'll walk through this problem step by step, and I'm going to show you where a lot of people are going to get this wrong. Now, they're going to get it wrong not because they're not smart enough to learn this, it's simply because they either forgot what these words mean, and that's probably one of the main reasons, but there's another reason why a lot of people are going to get this problem wrong, even if they understand these words precisely. Of course, I'm going to get into all of this in just 1 second, but first, let me quickly introduce myself. My name is John, and I have been teaching middle and high school math for decades. And it really is my true passion to try to make learning math as easy as possible. So if you need assistance in mathematics, check out my math help program at tcmathacademy.com. You can find a link to that in the description below. And if this video helps you out, don't forget to like and subscribe, as that definitely helps me out. Okay, so the quotient of 2 and 10 times the difference of 3 and 5. What is the answer? Well, if you did this correctly, the correct answer is -2/5. Okay, now if you got this right, that is very, very good. Matter of fact, we must celebrate by giving you a nice little happy face, an A plus, a 100%, and multiple stars. So you can brag to your friends and family that indeed you still are a professional certified expert in the area of arithmetic and basic mathematics. They may not be all that impressed with that. You're like, well, that's just basic math. Well, you know what? This word basic is, sometimes deceiving. Okay. I think that word is sometimes overused. I use it a lot. Maybe I overuse this word because basic implies easy, right? Just like habits, right? It's, simple things that we want to create as habits. It's like, well, it's easy conceptually, but it's not so easy to in practice, right? So, anyways, don't feel bad if you didn't get this quote unquote basic math problem right. A lot of people didn't, but we're going to go ahead and correct any misunderstandings right now. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is make sure we understand the problem. Now, obviously, we're dealing with some sort of word problem here, so it's always a good idea to read a problem at least 3 times. Now, before you read this problem, or as you're reading this problem, you might be saying to yourself, well, yeah, I can read the problem, but I don't really know what these words mean, okay, especially quotient. And, well, the difference, a lot of you think, oh, yeah, I know what the difference is, but the quotient, a lot of you forgot this, okay? And that's okay. But, when it comes to mathematics, words have very precise meanings, okay? And we want to kind of review this, but this is a basic math word that you should know. And if you forgot, no big deal. I'm going to explain this in a second. But we can't interpret this problem unless we understand what these words mean. So we need to understand what the quotient is and the difference is, and then of course we have times right here. And let's go ahead and do that right now. So the quotient, okay, of two numbers. Now I'm going to give you kind of a formal definition, but we'll put this into practice here in a second. So the quotient of A and B. Now A and B just represent any two numbers. So the quotient of A and B implies division. Okay, but there's a very specific order here. Okay, so the quotient of A and B is equal to A divided by B. Okay, so we would write this the first number, the quotient of A, this is the first number, and B is the second number. And A, this first number, is the numerator. In other words, we can write this way, A divided by B, or A over B. Okay, so very precise order here when it comes to the definition of the quotient. Okay, it is the result of division, and again, we have to be very mindful of the order. Same thing with the difference. Okay, the difference of two numbers. So the difference of two numbers A and B is A minus B. Again, this first letter, okay, or number A goes first, and then we're going to subtract this other number B. So it's A minus B. Now, if you are saying to yourself, well, I'm not sure if I had the right order, well, that's probably the case. That's probably one of the main reasons why a lot of you didn't get this correct. But no big deal. You know, I don't want to make this into a trick question. I think this is just a nice review in terms of remembering what the quotient is and the difference. Okay, so let's go ahead and now translate our lovely word problem into a mathematical expression. Okay, so the quotient of 2 and 10. Now we got to remember it's division, right? So this is the first number, okay, that we're going to divide by. So it's going to be 2 divided by 10. 2 and 10. The quotient of 2 and 10, let's go back here to the definition. If we just replace these numbers, the quotient of 2 and 10, remember it's the first number. This is 2 divided by 10, or 2 over 10, not 10 divided by 2, which I'm pretty sure a lot of you interpreted that way, but that's okay. Again, you know, this is stuff that people tend to forget. No big deal. All right, so here we have 2 divided by 10. The quotient of 2 divided by, or sorry, 2 and 10, excuse me, times is what? Well, that implies multiplication, so we have this right here. So we're just kind of translating this, but here is a little bit of a twist on this last part of this problem. So the quotient of 2 and 10 times, now this part of the problem, the difference of 3 and 5. Now let's go back over here to the definition of the difference. So the difference of 3 and 5 is what? That's 3 minus 5 per the definition of the difference, okay? But here is something that is not implied in these definitions, and that is the following. Anytime you have a sum, okay, or difference in math, you want to use grouping symbols, okay? In other words, you want to put these in parentheses. You want to surround that group. Now, this isn't, you know, kind of explicit in this particular problem, but it is a practice that you need to understand not only in arithmetic, but in algebra as well, okay? And this comes up over and over again. So many mistakes are made because students do not put their sums and differences in grouping symbols, okay? So anyways, it's kind of hard for me to give you algebraic examples right here, but just believe me, anytime you have something that says the difference or the sum, just put that expression in parentheses, okay? So let's go ahead and just read this back and make sure we have this right. So this is the quotient of 2 and 10 times the sum, or sorry, not the sum, the difference, excuse me. Let me just go start again. So this is the quotient of 2 and 10 times the difference of 3 and 5. Okay, so if you were able to interpret this problem to this point, that's very, very good. Okay, so now if you were able to interpret this problem correctly, but still got the wrong answer, well, there is another very common reason why you probably made an error. Okay, and I'm going to get into this in just 1 second, but first I am going to ask you, if you have not yet subscribed to my channel, what are you waiting for? It's so easy. Just hit that subscribe button. And if you're going to do that, hit that notification button. This really does help me. I wouldn't ask if it didn't help me that much. And it helps me it helps other people. Okay, by you subscribing, it really does grow my channel, and to me, it just helps me reach people that are interested in math. You know, want to keep their brain sharp, just enjoy mathematics, and particularly those people that struggle in math. Those are the folks that I'm really looking to help because we have a big problem on our hand. There's a lot of people that, well, this problem has actually been around for quite some time, unfortunately, but so many people find math difficult, overly difficult. They have this, you know, phobia of mathematics. It doesn't have to be that way, okay? Unfortunately, a lot of people are taught in an over-technical way. They don't get enough encouragement, and so therefore they kind of give up, okay? You can be successful in mathematics. Believe me, you definitely can. What you need is clear and understandable instruction and a lot of encouragement, okay? That's what I try to deliver. But anyways, enough with the commercial. I could just say, you know what, I'm just going to subscribe, Mr. YouTube Math Man, so you can shut up and get back to the problem. Thank you so much. Let's get back to the problem. Okay, so here is our problem here. at this point, right? So we interpreted this. We have the quotient of 2 and 10 times the difference of 3 and 5. Remember, we went ahead and translate this here. The quotient of 2 and 10 times the difference of 3 and 5. We got this expression. Now we have to focus on actually simplifying what we would call technically a numeric expression. Okay, another kind of fancy mathematical term. This is a bunch of numbers and they're trying to express something. Matter of fact, they're specifically trying to express one number. So this is a numeric expression. And anytime you have a numeric expression, we need to consider the order of operations because we have different things going on here. We have parentheses, we have subtraction, we have multiplication, we have division. And depending on what order we do this problem in, we're gonna come up with different answers. Okay, obviously there's only one right answer, meaning there's only one correct order. So anytime you see a math problem, okay, when there's even an algebra problem, you always have to keep the order of operations in mind. Now, again, in mathematics, things like division, uh, multiplication, subtraction, addition, these are mathematical operators, and also powers are as well. Well, technically it's a mathematical operator, but these are operations in math that we need to know the correct order. So we need to know this lovely phrase right here, PEMDAS. This is a checklist that goes from left to right. And again, this is a highly confused thing in math. I'm going to give you a quick review of it right now. Okay, so PEMDAS, this is an acronym. These stands for something, or these letters stands for something, excuse me. And there's a quick, let me just tell you this quick little saying so you'll never forget this PEMDAS phrase here. That is, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Once again, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. So keep that into your long-term brain housing group. And don't forget this because this is extremely important in math. Okay, so let's get to how it works. So P, we're going to start over here. This stands for parentheses. So we're going to do any parentheses we have first. Of course, we have some parentheses, but technically these are what we call grouping symbols. So it could be these type of brackets, things like that. And you're going to work from the innermost brackets. So if you have multiple brackets, which you certainly can in a problem, you're going to work from the innermost working out. Okay. All right, so that's what P stands for, parentheses or grouping symbol. Grouping symbols, excuse me. So that's our first thing. Now, obviously, we have some parentheses. E stands for effectively powers. It stands for exponents, but if you have something like 2 to the third power, this 3 up here is what we call the exponent. The 2 is called the base. The entire thing is a power. So E stands for exponents, but you can interpret it as powers, excuse me. Okay, so M, D, A, and S. Let me just go ahead and tell you what this stands for. M is multiplication, D is division, A addition, and S is subtraction. Now, if you're saying, all right, Mr. YouTube Math Man, you're telling me this is a checklist that goes from left to right, so therefore I'm going to do all multiplication first, and then if there's any multiplication, I'll get all this done, and then I'll move on to division, get any division done, and then addition and subtraction. That one makes sense, okay? However, that is incorrect. Okay, so this is, again, very confused, and I don't think sometimes this is really stressed enough in a lot of textbooks. Okay, I could be wrong with that, but I've been doing this for many decades. I wouldn't be so confused if it was stressed enough. Okay, well, let me go and explain it to you right now. So M and D and A and S are groups. Okay, so you're going to do multiplication or division, whatever you see first from left to right. So if we see multiplication, then division, like this, from left to right, I'm going to do multiplication first. But if I see division, then multiplication, I'm going to do the division before the multiplication because that's what I see from left to right. And addition, subtraction work the same way. Okay, so now that you understand the order of operations, you should be able to apply that knowledge to this particular problem. Obviously, we need to keep this PEMDAS in mind as we work this problem. So let's go ahead and get started now. So the first thing we need to do is parentheses, right? So always in your brain, or you can even write it down if you're first learning this, just, kind of continue to review this checklist. All right, do I have any parentheses? Oh, yes, indeed, I do right here. So I have to do 3 minus 5. Now at this point, okay, this is the difference of 3 and 5. A lot of people are going to get this wrong because they're going to be thinking in their brain, 5 minus 3 is 2. That is wrong. This is the difference of 5 and 3, not 3 and 5. 3 minus 5 is the same thing as 3 plus negative 5. This is negative 2. Now, some of you might be saying, "Oh, come on, Mr. YouTube Math Man, that was a trick problem. You're always throwing on these little sneaky things." And well, listen, you know, I try to design my prompts to highlight common areas of mistakes. Okay, I'm not going to give you, I'm going to give you problems that challenge you, but something that you can learn from, right? So, anyways, if you didn't know that 3 minus 5 is negative 2, then you just need to work on your positive, negative numbers. Again, another common area of mistakes. Matter of fact, I'm going to tell you the three most common places where students struggle with in mathematics, okay, in terms of not knowing basic math. First is fractions. The second is positive and negative number rules. And the next one is the order of operations, okay, PEMDAS. If you get these three things down really, really, really well, you're going to do very, very good in math like algebra and beyond, okay? But I've had the best of math students, well, not say the best, students that can algebra 2, even pre-calculus make fraction mistakes, order of operation mistakes, because, everyone just assumes that they have this down. By the way, if you're interested in learning basic math with me in a more formal way, I have a great little math boot camp. It's a little mini course, but really I go over all basic math stuff that you pretty much need to know to include those things I just mentioned, basic number operations, percent, place values, decimals, etc. You can find the link to it. It's called my Math Foundations course. You'll find the link to it in the description. Okay, so now we're down to 2 divided by 10 times negative 2. What do we do first? Well, I'm looking at my PEMDAS and I'm saying, all right, do I have any more parentheses? No, there's parentheses here, but as soon as you're done with whatever you're doing inside the parentheses, effectively, you can kind of even drop the parentheses. Okay, it's not necessary, but you can drop them because there's nothing more to do in that step. All right, E, do I have any powers? Nope. Do I have any multiplication, division? Yes, indeed. Okay, I have division here and multiplication here. What am I going to do first? All right, a very, very common source of confusion is students would do the multiplication first because they see the M in PEMDAS. Nope, I see division first from left to right, so I have to do this first. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that now. So 2 divided by 10, I'm going to just write this as a fraction, 2 over 10, and that's going to be times this negative 2. Okay, so now we're talking about fractions, and to do this problem, it's always smart to reduce your fractions before you do anything with them. So 2 over 10 we can reduce to the fraction 1/5. So this is going to be 1/5 times negative 2, and 1/5 times negative 2. Pretty easy stuff. Remember, when you multiply fractions, anytime you have a number like this, let's go and just write negative 2 like this, and you're like, I want to think of negative 2 as a fraction, just put it over 1. Okay, so now that we have two fractions here, 1/5 times negative 2 over 1, to multiply fractions, all you have to do is multiply the respective numerators and denominators. So I have 1 times negative 2, which of course is negative 2. 5 times 1 is 5. And our final answer is negative 2/5. This is fully simplified. And there you go. All right, now, how often are you going to see a math problem with the words, quotient or difference and stuff? Some of you might be saying, well, this never comes up in, real math courses. This is stuff you learn once and you forget. Well, you know what? I may not give you an argument there, okay? In terms of like, yeah, how often does it come up? It will come up from time to time, okay? And the thing about it is this. Uh, you want to have situational awareness in math. This is what I'm really trying to communicate to you out there if you are trying to really learn math, is have situational awareness. In other words, let's suppose you come across a problem like this and you're like, oh, the quotient, the difference, I forgot exactly, but I know that the order is very specific. I know that I need to understand the precise definition of these words, okay? And I think if you, at least you can remember that, all right, so you can kind of go back and look at your notes or reference that, then that's good, okay? You're not gonna remember every single thing in math, but what you should develop, okay, if you wanna really do well in math, is just an alertness, a situational awareness to, a sensitivity, if you will, to the terms in a problem, the definitions. These things have very specific meanings. So, anyways, hopefully you got something out of this video. If that's the case, don't forget to like and subscribe. And with that being said, I definitely wish you all the best in your mathematics adventures. Thank you for your time and have a great day.